Hello there, my friend. Welcome back to the channel. For those of you on the live stream, it's Friday. It's Friday, y'all. I'm so excited. Actually, I've got a very busy weekend ahead of me. It's not going to be all that restful, but it still feels good. Still feels good. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope you are too. For those of you who are joining us on the Rewatch crew, I hope it has been a great day whenever you are. Hey, today we are taking a look back. We've got a little bit of news that is related to the death of Mica Miller. Do you guys remember Mica? Mica, this is a sad case. So back in April of last year, it was April 27th of last year, Mica Miller lost her life. And while I don't think, there are still people who do, I don't think that her spouse, the pastor of Solid Rock Church, J.P. Miller, did the taking. I believe that he had the responsibility. That's just my opinion. Okay? And one of the things that convinces me of that is this document that we've all seen together. I need to move this and I need to push this little button. This is back from June of last year, a letter from Regina Ward, who was, maybe still is, the lawyer of the family of Mica Miller. And the idea, this letter was to convince the legislature in the state of South Carolina to pass a coercive control bill. And part of that letter was this list, Mica's list. We're going to go over it again tonight, but what is it? 6 pages long, something like that. Okay. And I want to go over it, though we've gone over it a couple times already, but I'm burying the lead. What has happened is that as of the 22nd, so what was that? Tuesday, I guess, in the South Carolina General Assembly, a bill was introduced by Senator Goldfinch, a person who I have no idea who he or she is. They introduced a bill, Senate Bill 588, a coercive control bill. They didn't call it Mica's bill or the Mica Miller bill, but they did introduce a new bill. Now, of course, a coercive control bill has been introduced in the legislature in the state of South Carolina multiple times. It's at least twice before, maybe 3 times before. It's in this letter from Ms. Ward. Yeah, so Senate Bill 927 in 2021, House Bill 3621 in 2021, and House Bill 5271 in 20. So they've been introduced before, but I think it's good news that this one has been introduced again. I think the best place to start here is not with the bill itself. Let's start with Mica's list, okay? And just so we're all, let me bring up there's one that I really love. I really love this picture of Mica. Just looks so happy. Just looks so happy. And it is tragic to me that we know that her life ended in a really, really tragic way, and that she had been under the thumb, the coercive control, this is my opinion anyway, of her spouse, the good pastor, which I hate saying, but I'm doing it to make a point, J.P. Miller. This one's my favorite picture of him. It's his mugshot. I like that one. Okay, so let's start off by looking at Mica's list from Ms. Ward's letter. Bring you guys along over here. All right. The coercive control behavior examples. Keep in mind that all of the following are allegations, were taken from Mica's verbal story or diaries, journals, and writings she left behind regarding her husband, J.P. Miller. Miller has not been arrested or charged with any crime related to Mica ever at the court of course, I don't think he's been charged with a crime since, has he? Not related to Mica, anyway. Anyway. Okay, so the first one, isolating her from family and friends. By the way, if any of you are watching from the Sacramento, California area and know me because we attended church together, I know that there's a little kerfuffle happening out there. Pay close attention to this list of coercively controlling behaviors. Okay? All right. Isolating her from her family and friends. This allegation is JP cut her off from her family and friends, taking her contact list by confiscating her cell phone and hiding it from her, telling her that her family is using her, are not good people, and she should disassociate with them, forbidding her to spend time with friends or questioning her incessantly about it, so the harassment outweighs the benefit of having friendships. And I'm not going to read the entire paragraph of all of these, but just so you get the point, right? Depriving her of basic needs. So this one alleges that he wouldn't let her sleep. He threw her clothes on the front lawn of their home, woke her up by screaming at her to the point she had to leave to go sleep in her car to just get some peace. Stalking or tracking her whereabouts. Like, we know he did this. She had video of him showing up at places like gas stations and auto dealerships, stuff like that. Or what were they? Was it an auto dealership or was it a garage? Right? Monitoring her communications. Taking control over aspects of her life, depriving her of support services. This one, he took her cell phone, her car, her Apple Watch, convinced her she didn't need a lawyer. From the pulpit, he gave a sermon and chastised her and any woman or man that texted his wife that had encouraged her to confide in them about her husband, the pastor, thus shutting down even a private confidant. She became afraid to speak out. Expressing to her that she was worthless, humiliating, degrading, and dehumanizing her, preventing disclosure to authorities. So when Mica would threaten to expose JP, he would ramp it up, tell her that if she did, then she was not a Christian woman, not a dutiful wife, and she was acting like a judge, and only God is the judge, and that she was required by the Bible to protect him and not disclose what he did to her. Stuff like that, right? Financial abuse. Removed her from bank accounts, told her she did not know how to manage money, but required her to pay her own car payment, car insurance, medical bills, right? Threats to hurt her or her family or himself. This one didn't count, but specifically, they didn't have any allegations, but this is an allegation that is important for the law. Threats to reveal or publish private information. Assault. This word, which we all know that I'm not going to say because we're on YouTube, preventing her from having transportation. JP slashed a total of 5 of her car tires. He inserted razors in her tires, potential to cause her to wreck. He took her vehicle that was titled in her name and paid for solely by her and hid it from her. In order to be able to get to work, she was forced to buy a second vehicle, thus giving her 2 car payments and insurance costs. He took her purse, driver's license, or car keys to prevent her from leaving the house. Interfered with her work. Yeah. I'm not going to say this one either because we're on YouTube. Ignoring requests or commands to leave her alone. Cruelty to her dog. Destruction of her property. Destruction of supporting evidence, misuse of legal documents, misuse of law enforcement, misuse of the legal process, adultery, promiscuity, stealing her identity, cyber and technology. I won't say that word again because of YouTube. Medical, spiritual, and church, right? Phone calls to everyone. And then physically doing that to her without leaving marks. So these were the things that were on Mica's list. Now, if we go over to the bill, let's see what we have here. I'm just going to head on down here. Okay, to amend the South Carolina Code of Laws by adding section 16-25-140 so as to create the offense of coercive control over another person. To provide examples of the types of behavior and evidence that may be used to support the offense, to provide a penalty, and to define terms related to coercive control. So here's the bill. Be enacted by the General Assembly of the State of South Carolina. Section 1, Chapter 25, Title 16 of the South Carolina Code is amended by adding Section 1625-140A. For the purposes of this section, coercive behavior means an act or pattern of acts of the A word, threats, humiliation, manipulation, intimidation, or other A, including emotional A, that is used to harm, punish, or frighten another person by fraudulent representations. Controlling behavior means a range of acts designed to make a person subordinate or dependent by isolating the person from sources of support, exploiting the person's resources and capacities for personal gain, depriving the person of the means needed for independence, resistance, or escape, or regulating the person's everyday behavior. Personally connected means persons who are engaged in an intimate personal relationship or have previously been in an intimate personal relationship, or household members defined in section 1625.10. I think that would, I didn't look specifically at that section, but I hope that that means like parents, guardians, things like that. I hope so. Okay, when two persons are personally connected, it is unlawful for one person to repeatedly or continuously engage in a course of behavior toward the other person that is coercive or controlling, and that results in the person fearing on at least two occasions that violence will be used against them, or that results in their mental distress such that their day-to-day activities suffer substantial adverse effects. That's interesting that they are requiring it to happen twice. I think definitionally, wow, that's probably true, right? I mean, I guess you can be coerced in one occasion, but two occasions shows a pattern, right? A person who violates the provisions of this section is guilty of a felony. They're making it felonious. Upon conviction, must be fined not more than $10,000 or imprisoned not more than 10 years, or both. The offense of coercive control of another person may include, but is not limited to, the following types of behavior: isolating a person from their friends and family, depriving the person of basic needs, monitoring a person's time, monitoring a person via online communication tools or using spyware, taking control over aspects of a person's everyday life, including where the person may go, who the person may see, what the person may wear, and when a person may sleep. This is right out of Mica's list, right? Depriving a person access to support services, including medical services. Repeatedly insulting a person, including expressing the person's worthlessness. Enforcing rules and activities that humiliate, degrade, or dehumanize the person. Forcing a person to take part in criminal activity, including shoplifting and neglect, or child A, to encourage the person's self-blame and prevent disclosure to authorities. Financial abuse, there I said the word, dang it, including control of finances and only allowing a person a punitive allowance. Threats to hurt or kill, threats to a child. This is straight out of the list. I think it's in order too. Threats to reveal or publish private information or extort the person or a member of the person's family in retaliation by legal or other means. Assault, the R word, preventing a person from having access to transportation or from working. I know they said transport. I added a little bit there. Evidence of coercive control of another person may include, but is not limited to, the following: copies of emails, phone records, or text messages, Evidence of the A over the internet, digital technology, or social media platforms. Evidence of assault. Photographs of injuries, particularly defensive injuries to forearms, latent upper arm grabs, scalp bruising, or clumps of hair missing. 911 tapes or transcripts, body-worn camera footage, lifestyle and household evidence, including at-scene photographic evidence, records of interaction with support services or law enforcement, including records of interaction prior to the current incident or investigation, medical records, witness testimony, including testimony from the family and friends regarding the effect and impact of isolation of the person from friends or family or other local witnesses with relevant observations of the person. Of course, these would be people with actual observations, right? Bank records to show financial control, previous threats made to children or other family members. This is pretty inclusive of everything. A diary kept by the person. Yes. The person's account of the situation to law enforcement or evidence of isolation such as lack of contact between family and friends, person withdrawing from activities such as clubs or other life events, including weddings and funerals, and the person exerting control accompanying the person to medical appointments. Wow. Good. The provisions of this section do not apply to actions taken pursuant to a legal arrangement granting one person power or authority over another person, including but not limited to power of attorney arrangements. Okay. Legal guardians of the property or person as provided by law. Yeah, I think you can carve out exceptions, right? If you are to be in control of a person. Yeah. Parental control of a minor child, or cases in which the person asserting control over another person believed the actions were in the best interest of the person and the actions were objectively reasonable under the circumstances. I hope that they wordcraft that one a little more. They ought to flush that one out a little bit more. Of course, they're using the reasonable person standard, so that would be, I guess, interpreted by the courts eventually. Under no circumstances is it a reasonable defense if the action caused another person to fear that violence would be used against them. Section 2, this act takes effect upon approval by the governor, which every act must do. And I think if we go back over here, I think it was all covered. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. There were a couple things that were missing, like, expressing worthlessness. But I think it was pretty complete, man. Pretty darn complete. Let's see what you guys think. Did you guys, by the way, see the sub count that we're at right now? 116,780 fishies in the bowl. That is pretty remarkable, man. Pretty amazing. Okay. Let's, enough self-congratulation, Gavin. Where are you going? You're going here. Okay. Let's make sure that it is refreshed. Okay. Amy says, good to see you. Happy Friday. It is a good day. It's been a really good day. All right. That's what my ex-husband would do if I didn't do everything he wanted. He would say he married a crazy person and would take a loaded... Oh my goodness, are you serious? Oh, I'm not showing you guys this. Wow. I'm sorry to hear that, Promise Rhodes. Wow. Michael Green Chili Chicken says every state needs a version of this bill. Yeah, and according to Ms. Ward at the time of her press conference, I think there were only 3 states that had something like this. Yes, Autumn says, as of the 25th of February, there is a civil case against JP. Yes, that is true. Just, I don't think there are any criminal actions related to Mica. But nevertheless, they're serious. Serious allegations. Royal Order of the Frank. There you are. There you are. So glad you're here. But you just lay down that amazing handle and expect me to take it sitting down. I guess I'll have to say sitting down. Okay. Royal Order of the Frank says, Gavin, they should have included threats to have the victim unnecessarily hospitalized for mental issues. My ex did that to me very shortly after we were married. Wow. Yeah, that should be in there. And that happened to Mica. She was involuntarily committed to a mental hospital. Whew. All right. Bring up another thing here. Teresa says, my ex-husband did almost all the things. I was young, didn't know better. It's a terrible way to live. Yeah, And you're right. In our youth, we don't understand a lot of things, right? Wisdom comes with experience. And yeah, I get awfully sad about people who aren't living happy lives, especially when that happiness is within their own grasp, within their own control. And but in this case, of course, I mean, we're not talking about that. We're talking about somebody who can't be happy because somebody has control over them. It's a different thing. Robin says, my ex threatened to dispose of my dogs. Goodness sake. Wow. Susan says, didn't skip anybody. Most cases of coercive control do not have the physical manifestations listed, nor do victims share this relationship. I think the diary is probably the best item on the list. Yeah. Yeah, you guys know that one of the most important cases in my life is the Ellen Greenberg case. You can see her, right? Oh my goodness, I can't do it. There. It's a very important case to me. I'm sure that she was coercively controlled. This is my opinion. So I would say I am convinced that she was coercively controlled. But when we look at her autopsy, she has all sorts of bruising in places that she covered up. So, I mean, I think you're right that probably most cases aren't like that. But there are some cases that are like that. And so I'm glad that that they've included it in the law. Yeah, Sienna says, Mica never took a bad picture. Yeah, even like she was just a gorgeous woman. And you know what? The beauty comes, I mean, she's a beautiful woman, but it just exudes out of her and I don't even know how she did it because we now know what she was living through, but like, look at that. She still is able to put on a smile. She's still, that's actually one of the things about Maddie, right? When we've talked about Madeline Soto so much, right? How is it possible? Well, that's not a very good example of it because I think that she's kind of putting on that face, but there are some pictures like this that show what appears to be actual happiness or actual peace. And Mica was able to do that even going through what she was going through. And yeah, you're right. It's just, it's hard. Robin Bernardi says, I bet there isn't one person in this chat that hasn't either been in a similar situation or knows someone who has experienced this. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it touches close to everybody. And I mean, that's one of the reasons that we talk about this case on the channel. And I know that a lot of people are kind of over the Mica Miller case. But for me, it's really important. I want to follow it all the way to its conclusion. I hope that this law gets passed. I hope they call it Mica's Law. Because, I mean, this could make a change in a lot of people's lives. And if police officers were empowered to enforce a law like this, I think that I think that the understanding in the community would start to expand. You're like, oh, I can do something about things that I see that are just off, right? That, oh, no, he has a little too much control of her or whatever, Um, so yeah, you're right. I think that this happens with frequency. Oh, that saddens me, Kat. This one didn't have a GF in it, but my ex found my diary and used it against me. I've never journaled since. And I've been single since 2009. Still can't bring myself to journal. That saddens me for you and for the people around you. You know, my dad is a avid journal writer. Has been since he was like since he started to write. He has kept a journal over the last several years. It used to be daily. And he would share his journal entry with loved ones. Like as we would grow up and get to the point where we were leaving the house, then we would start to get mail, letters in the mail, and it would be his journal entry. It used to be a daily thing. This is obviously before email and everything. But over the last several years, as he's been battling cancer, it's become a little more difficult for him to do. But about every week or so, he'll sit down and he'll jot down a really good journal entry. And I think that is one of the, that's one of the treasures that we have, is a well-documented life. So, Cat, eyes wide open, I hope that you are somehow able to overcome that and return to your diary. I really do. I think that would be good for you, and I think it'd be good for everybody around you. Royal Order of the Frank. Okay, I'm in. Vindication! I'm in the Royal Order of the Frank. Can I get a badge? Like, you could maybe you could design something and email it to me. I'll print it off. Maybe I'll make it a button and it'll be the Royal Order of the Frank. Is there anybody else that I would like to nominate? Yes, I would like to nominate my three OGs. Okay, I nominate Jamie Felmley, Autumn Doyle, and Mooney. Those are my first nominations. There are going to be others. It depends on what the benefits are. Maybe what we could do is man, this is such a tangent. Maybe we could do something in the merch store that we get Royal Order of the Frank buttons, and maybe they're just always out of stock. Nobody can get them. That's funny. Cassie says, Gavin, my 13-year-old was just telling me that after her friend broke up with her boyfriend, he started threatening her and another one of her friends. It's horrifying that these things start so young. Yeah. Oh my goodness. How much do I want to share? Now, I feel like I have a story from when I was younger that is similar in nature. I'm not going to share details, though, because that could hurt a couple of other people. But yeah, I think it does start young. I think, and I don't know that it's a learned behavior. Maybe it's something in us that we logic out. Oh, she can't be mine. She's going to be nobody's, that kind of thing. I don't know. It's just so sad. Yep. Journals are a treasure, man. We've got journals from my dad. My dad, I'm kind of going on tangents tonight, but it's okay, right? We're friends. My dad was given a journal when he was like 6 years old, a little diary, right? And he would write little things that he did in it. One of the things that he did when he was 7 years old, his father had quit being a long-haul truck driver because he wanted to be home more. They had 6 children, and he wanted to be home more. So he had taken a local job. As a favor to his the kids called him uncle, but they weren't related, but they were close friends, right? As a favor to close friends, he did go on one last long haul, and my dad was invited to go along with it. So on this long haul, he had his journal, and he wrote down all the places that they went. And it was a big circle back to where they were. And then my dad was dropped off, and then they did one haul out to California. That was the plan. So dad started the big circuit, spent all that time on the road with his dad and his uncle, got back home, was dropped off, and then off they went to California. And in California, up in the Sierra Nevada, there was an accident, and his father was killed. It was right before he turned 8. So he has this little journal of the last ride that he took with his dad. And my dad was born in 1948. So this year he turns 77. So that has been, actually, next month it will be 70 years. No, it'll be 69 years next month since that happened. So, because that was May of 1956. Anyway, treasures, right? So, Kat, eyes wide open. I'm not just saying get over it. What I'm saying is I hope that you're able to somehow, maybe with some help from other people. It'd be great. It would be great. Let's bring Mica back up here. Oh, Mooney's in. She knows. Autumn's in. She knows. Yep. Yes. Starting something. Royal Order of the Fish. No, see, I have no royalty. I need to be inducted into another order until there can eventually be a Royal Order of the Fish. That's why every time the Royal Order of the Frank comes in, there shouldn't be anger in my heart. There should be joy and rejoicing in my heart because I've been inducted into the Royal Order of the Frank. But every time he'd come on, or he or she, I can't remember, would come on, I'd be like, how come I can't be there? So it's a happy day, everybody. It's a happy, happy day. Patty says, even though they filled it as Bill 588, the governor can still sign it into the law as Mica's law. Indeed, you are correct. Allie's mom says, Gavin, my dad saved all the letters he wrote to me when I was in college and put them together for me in a book on my 28th birthday. It's priceless to me, even at 60 years old. That's pretty great. You know what? We're kind of off Mica's story, but if you guys can bear with me for a moment, I have to go downstairs and pick something up. But since we're talking about these kinds of treasures, right? Let me go downstairs. I'm going to go grab something. I'm going to mute the mic, and I'll be right back. I'm going to show you something that is one of the ways that I journal. Okay? Hang on just one second. Okay, I'm back. Whew. Did you guys do okay without me? All right. I'm going to do a little preamble here. Let me close the door. All right. So I told you the story about my dad's dad being a truck driver. dying in May of 56. You need to take a breath, get some water. The Christmas previous, my dad received from Santa a toy tractor trailer, like big rig toy. Of course, it was in the 50s, so it was all made of metal. And it was not an exact replica, but it was meant to be a replica of his dad's truck. And he played and played and played with it. Of course, it became more meaningful to him the older he got, right? His dad had died. And so he kept good care of it. And after he'd kind of grown out of it, his mom took very good care of it. By the time I came along, my dad had it in his study, and I would play with it the same way that my dad would play with it. Sit on the trailer and kind of push it around the carpet in my dad's study. The rule was it never left the study. But I played and played and played on that thing, as did probably all of my brothers and sisters, but at least my brothers. Well, one year, maybe about 20 years ago, my parents decided that they were going to give us gifts that were meaningful, not purchased. And so we each got something that was meaningful to my parents. Check this out. So that is my dad's truck. He and mom gave it to me for Christmas that year. Inside it, so what they did is they mounted it on a little like board that's meant to look like a highway. And then he had an employee of his who was a metal worker, recreate parts that had gone missing over the years, like the headlights, like the doors of the trailer, the trailer jack stands, a couple of other things. He had those remade. But anyway, inside the trailer, I'm not going to open it for you, but ever since I got that from my parents with a little letter about its significance and everything, ever since I got that from my parents, anytime I had something that was meaningful to me or meaningful to us, meaning Kimberly and me and our family, I would tuck that thing away in the trailer. So that trailer is just chock full of memories, mementos, little knickknacks, little notes, letters that we've received, things like that. And every couple of years, the kids will say, hey, can we open up the PIE diesel truck, which is what's called PIE diesel truck. And we go through those things, and I love it. That's one of the ways that I journal. Tangential to what we're doing here, but kind of fun to talk about. All right, let's see see if we've got a couple of really cool comments here. Big hugs from Belfast, Northern Ireland. Thank you. Very good. Glad you are, Sassy's Fabbies, making my own BC journal. Good for you. Good for you. It's awesome. Let's see. Scroll through here. One Man's Trash says it's fantastic. Jesse says, my wife's great-grandma journaled her entire life, 1900 to 2000. Wow. We found out this past year and found out she donated them all to a local museum. We're excited to go see them. Wow, that is pretty cool. That is cool. Autumn likes it. Yeah. If there was like a house fire and everybody was safe, there are no things more important than the ones you love, right? There's a house fire, everybody is safe. That is the thing that I would take out with me. That is the only thing I would take out with me if I could. I love it. Yep, it's my little time capsule. It's really a time capsule of our marriage because, like, Kimberly's tiara from our wedding is in there. There's lots of little things. I've told you about my friend Danny. I've tucked a couple of things in there that were Danny's that his family gave me that are in there. Robin, that's very sweet of you to say. I hope all of you do stuff like that. I'm a sentimental person for sure. You agree your treasures are like that too. Yeah. So there's my PIE diesel truck. I love it. I love that I have it. I love that my parents thought that would be the thing that I would want the most. And each of us got something similarly valuable. And each time when we opened them, we always start from oldest to youngest, and I'm the fourth of five. So like, I see my oldest sister was like, that is so wonderful. She opened her gift. My two older brothers, as they opened theirs, like, it was just so wonderful. And when I opened mine, it was just, everybody was the same, had the same reaction, how wonderful it was. My baby sister, the same thing too. It was really something else. And my dad has started to get a little more sentimental for obvious reasons over the last couple of years. And so when we go out there, he usually has something to give us. Some knickknack. I'm trying to think. Might be in the PIE diesel truck. Yeah, it's in the PIE diesel truck, but he gave my wife a little Tiffany piece this last time we were there, that had been a gift from a friend of his to him. It was like a little ornament, little Tiffany and Company ornament that his close childhood friend had given to him, and he gave it to my wife. And so Dad's getting more sentimental. I'm a pretty sentimental person myself. And yeah, let's see. We've really gotten off track. I'm really grateful that Mica's Law has a new wind in its sails. But I've also really enjoyed just kind of talking about personal things here today. It's been kind of fun. It would be fun, guys, if you go over to my website, if you want to share just for me to read, go over to my website. If you have something, I don't know, fun or sentimental that you'd just like me to read, click the little envelope up here and shoot me a message. I would love to read little anecdotes about you. I read everything that comes in. I don't respond. I respond to very few of them, but I do enjoy the correspondence that I get from you guys. While we're on the website, guys, click on support me, skip all of the me, and go right. I've been noticing that Autumn has been taken care of by you guys, and I deeply appreciate that. She is our mod wrangler, and she does a terrific job. So if you can, no pressure, no guilt, but if you think Autumn has earned it this time and you're able, please go ahead and do that. Remember that we are on Facebook. Just search for The Fish Tank or search for Gavin Fish. You'll find us. We're all over the socials. You can click on this little button right here to get to them. All the socials are down here. Yeah, tonight's been really fun. That's a good way to go into the weekend. So I guess with that, thank you for being here. Hope you have a great weekend. I bid you adieu, and I hope I see you on the next one. Take care. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below.